So, hello. It's been a while. Today we have a 100 sub shell challenge by the Simmimg Koalaa. Now this was like almost 2 years ago, and this was to celebrate the Simmimg Koalaa's 100 subscribers on YouTube milestone. And it's been almost 2 years, like I said, and now they have over 1,000. So like, way to go. Love that growth. That's amazing. It's good to see that. And if you're not following them, what are you doing with your life? They stream on Twitch. They post videos on YouTube. She has an eclectic taste in games. It's not just The Sims 4. So check out the Twitch stream. Check out the YouTube channel. And I will obviously have at least a link to her YouTube down in the description. So, yes, it's been almost 2 years. Where have I been? Well, first of all, this is on the... Originally, it was built on the Manzanita Terrace lot in San Sequoia, and it's going to be a restaurant, is what I'm going to turn it into, and I renamed it Hook's Hideaway. It's a 30 by 20 lot, and it comes in at 126,093 simoleons. But yeah, where have I been for the last 2 years? Well, there's been a whole lot going on, and I guess life just kind of got in the way. So I'm going to spin this video just basically with a life update for you of everything that's been happening while you watch how I did this challenge. Now, I did do this challenge back in April of 2023. It was uploaded, so it's already on the gallery, and I guess you could still do this challenge if you wanted to, but it's pretty old. But I had this footage. So to begin with, a couple years ago, I started having computer problems. It was really laggy. It was force closing programs. It made it very difficult to edit. Now, of course, I play Sims on console, so it didn't affect that, but the editing part was getting extremely difficult. And at the time, I was using HitFilm to edit, and I was using Audacity to record the voiceovers. Well, it got to the point where my computer wouldn't let me have more than one program open at a time. So I couldn't watch my edited video while I was recording on Audacity, because it would just, the program would just, Audacity would simply just stop working. So that became just an absolute nightmare. And at the same time, our lease on the house we were renting was going to be up in about 4 or 5 months, the end of 2023, and we decided we wanted to buy a house instead of continue renting. So I switched all my time and effort from Sims builds and making speed build videos to house hunting. And so we found a house that we fell in love with, made an offer. The offer was accepted, and we closed on the house, bought the house. And so then it came the packing and moving, and we had to have everything out of there before our lease was up. So the majority of 2023 was that. It was focused on buying a house and moving to the house. We moved into our house in the fall of 2023, and about a month after moving into our house, our little dog got attacked in our yard by the neighbor's dogs. Now, to give you some perspective, our little Top, whose given name is Top Sergeant Buffaroni, but I call him Boogers, or Mr. Boogers, he is a Jack Russell Corgi mix. So, not very small, but still a smallish to medium-sized dog. He was attacked by 2 pit bulls. Love pit bulls. I have no problem with pit bulls whatsoever, but one of the neighbor's dogs they knew had aggression issues, and yet they weren't keeping them in their yard and leashing them when they let them out. So we dealt with that. He had to go to the vet. He had some surgeries. It took about 2 to 3 months for him to fully recover, all while we're trying to get moved in and settled into our new house and unpacked, and he needed to be constantly supervised and taken care of, so there was really no time for anything else. Things start settling down towards the end of the year, the end of 2023, and we get through the holidays, and it's the beginning of 2024, and my husband goes in for his annual checkup and blood work and is diagnosed as being a type 2 diabetic. His blood glucose level was 512, not his A1C, but his blood glucose level, like you would check on your little machine at home, was 512, and it should be around 100. So he was at very dangerous levels, and we needed to start getting that taken care of. So we had to work on diet and exercise and getting his A1C down so that he could basically not die and live a healthy life. So we had all these things going on. We got that taken care of and leveled out, and he's doing well. Little dog is doing well. Youngest child is doing well. And around, I guess, the fall of 2024, I hadn't played Sims since May of 2023. And I'm like, they announced the Life or Death pack, and that is like absolutely my aesthetic. I was super excited, ready to go. They started doing the login events, so I started going back into the Sims for those because I wanted the free stuff, and I started playing a little bit, and I bought the Life and Death pack and decided that, all right, I want to start playing Sims again, Sims 4, and I may or may not start uploading videos of my builds. But at least I wanted to do builds and post them on the gallery, because I haven't posted anything on the gallery since 2023 as well. I also haven't kept up with buying any of the new packs or kits or anything since then. So I have quite a bit to catch up on and quite a bit to purchase. I have started catching up on all of that. I have the only one I'm missing. I haven't bought some of the kits, and I'm missing a couple of the packs, and I don't have for rent. But we're caught up on everything else. So I decided that I enjoy editing. But I figured, now that we've got the computer problems taken care of, life has settled down, and I can get back into this would be a good time to switch editing programs. So I am currently learning how to use Premiere Pro. Part of this was edited using HitFilm, because I already had this video like 95% edited. All I needed to do was drop in the voiceover. So I thought, hey, we should probably post this. I should get it out. So I'm learning how to use Premiere Pro, and so far it's going better, honestly, than HitFilm. It's just as easy to use, if not easier, and I don't have to use two separate programs to record the voiceovers and to do the editing. I can do it all in Premiere Pro, so I really do like that part. That has made things just so much easier. And So that's basically what's been going on with me for the last couple years. And I felt like I don't know that I owe everybody an explanation, but I'm sure some people are wondering, hey, what happened? So there you go. That's what's been going on the last 2 years. Is that. All of that. Computer issues, hunting for a house, packing and moving to the house, dealing with the dog problems, dealing with the sick husband problems, and just dealing with life in general. I had gotten to the point where I was dealing with a whole lot of anxiety and depression. And for me, playing The Sims was always something that calmed me down. It's definitely my comfort game. And it had gotten to the point where I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It wasn't fun anymore. And when it gets to the point where it's feeling more like a job than being fun, that's when I felt like, okay, well, I need to take a step back and get my life in order and work on my mental health, and then I can come back to this, which is exactly what I did. We're all in a much better place. Family's happy. We're doing good. Because I have enjoyed Sims for the last 25 years. I've been with Sims from the beginning. I bought the original Sims game for my PC about 2 to 3 months after it was released. I remember being extremely pregnant with my first child. Yes, I'm that old. And just spending my days playing The Sims. And you fall down that rabbit hole. You start playing, and the next thing you know, it's been like 10 hours in real time, not Sims time. But I didn't start building until the last few years because I didn't think I could do it. But I guess, I was wrong. I don't know. But anyway, and speaking of my first child, I'd like to give them a shout out while we're at it. They have this lovely podcast that they do with their friend that is called Midnight Oil. And you can find it here on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Music, pretty much all the places you would go to look for a podcast. There it is. Midnight Oil. Check it out. It is extremely interesting. And they talk about just absolutely everything you can imagine. And you learn things from it as well. Like, it's very educational. It's extremely intelligent. They do mispronounce words quite often, and that drives me crazy. But that's the reality of it. And I'm gonna be real with you here. I'm that kind of person. But anyway, go check out Midnight Oil and go subscribe, or at least go check out the Simmimg Koala's YouTube video. That's the Simmimg Koalaa with 2 A's. And a link to her YouTube channel will be in the description. I'll also put a link to the Midnight Oil podcast YouTube channel in the description if you want to check that out. Extremely interesting. Very much recommend. I think you'd really like it. I think it's got something for everyone. I really do believe that. So about this build, now that we've talked about everything else and got the life updates out of the way. So I chose to take this shell challenge and make it into a seafood themed restaurant, with a nautical theme, loosely like a maybe Peter Pan theme. But you have the first floor is the dining room, the main dining room. You have restrooms. You have a little maintenance closet, which I don't think we've gotten to that yet. I haven't really been watching. I've just kind of been yapping. Right now we're doing the kitchen. And of course, this has been play tested thoroughly. everything works to the best of the ability that the dine out pack works. If you know, you know. Although I think since updates over the last couple years, it has gotten significantly better, but it's still a little weird and a little buggy. But everything works. There's no routing issues. It all functions. And I wanted to do the seafood restaurant with kind of a nautical theme, just because I got those vibes from this lot in San Sequoia, with you just being there next to the water, eating at the seafood restaurant, looking out over the water. It seems so fitting to me to choose to make it into a seafood restaurant. And you'll notice from the beginning that the only things that I didn't add any walls, I didn't remove any walls, I didn't change the layout. The only thing I added were the porches around the exterior to kind of finish out the shape, and I did rotate it from where the position that it was in when you downloaded. I did rotate because I felt like that seemed a little better. And I struggled with this one of trying to figure out, did I want a roof? Did I want a glass roof? What I wanted to do. But it all kind of came together as I was trying to figure it out. The interesting thing, not about this build, but about another one that I'm working on now, it's a build from 3 years ago that I had started, and I gave up on it, and I went back to it because I've decided that I wanted to finish it. Mainly because, spoilers, I was building apartments, and I just thought, oh, now that we have the for rent pack, that would be awesome, because like now they can actually be functional apartments. So I went back to it. I still had the footage from what I had built so far saved on an external hard drive, which that's how I still had footage left over from 2 years ago that was already edited and such. It was safe from my terrible computer because it was all on my external hard drive. So I went back and I started editing that footage just to try to give me a little bit of practice editing in Premiere Pro. And my goodness, I've noticed that like I build so much faster now. I'm not nearly as indecisive. Like most of the editing that I had to do was where I had to like cut long sections of time out where I was just sitting there thinking about what I wanted to do. And that's not unusual, you know, in the grand scheme of things. But the unusual part about it is that the thinking part, I shouldn't have been sitting there thinking about it that long, because I had inspiration. I had a specific type of apartments that I wanted to do. So I had reference pictures, and I knew like, you know, exactly what size I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to look like. But I've noticed that I've gotten a lot faster at taking the vision from my head and actually creating it. So it was painful. It was painful trying to edit that. It really was. But I'm finishing up here the bottom floor. Another thing I've also noticed with building now, as opposed to building in the past, is that I don't whip around nearly as much while I'm building as I used to back then. So that's gotten better. But the first floor had the dining room, the 2 bathrooms, and the little utility room, the maintenance closet, whatever you would call it, and the access to all of the outside areas, which include the porches and dining. Upstairs you have the room that we're in now, which is an employee break room with an employee bathroom, because that felt very realistic to me to include that. And that's one thing that I really try to do in the details of my builds is I like them to be as realistic as possible. So I like adding the little details, and I like adding the things that would seem logical. Now, the issue that the only issue when I was playtesting that I ran into with this break room is that if you keep that table and chairs in there for the break room, the hostess downstairs will seat patrons in there to dine. And I had a family dining in the break room. And I don't know, it was funny to me, but at the same time it was like, oh gosh, okay, why didn't I think of this before? So if you do download this from the gallery to use it to play as a restaurant, you may want to take that table and chairs out of the break room if that bothers you, that there is a very good chance that people will get seated in there to dine. So there's that. Also upstairs, in addition to the break room and the employee restroom, I added a little area outside that, like a little deck, that is ship themed. And there's also a coffee bar upstairs. So when you download it from the gallery, it is set as a restaurant. But if you don't want to use it as a restaurant, if you'd rather use it as a cafe, just change it to cafe from restaurant, and there you go. When I was testing it for gameplay, I was interested to see if I could use both at the same time. So I had it set as a restaurant, and then just like for catering or for the bars or for like a piano player, you can hire someone to come in and do things. Well, you can hire somebody to come in and run the cafe, the upstairs, the coffee bar. So that's what I did, and it seemed to work out well. It still completely functioned as a restaurant, and people were able to bypass the check-in station, the podium downstairs, and come up and just order things at the coffee bar if they wanted to do that. So there's that option. Now, if you're doing the gameplay where you own the restaurant and you're running the restaurant, you might not want to have to pay to hire somebody to man the coffee bar. So just a heads up, that's how that works if you keep it set as a restaurant. So there's not much left in this build, probably like about 3 or 4 more minutes. So going forward in the future, what can you expect from this channel? I am going to continue posting speed build videos. I'm not going to have any type of schedule. I apologize, but I get anxiety about having to keep to a schedule for things like this, and it gets overwhelming, and then I feel guilty that I haven't finished a build or I haven't edited a video, and I need to get a video up. And I don't want that to happen again like it has in the past. So there's not going to be a schedule. I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent with uploading, maybe once or twice a week, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But I'd also like to start posting shorter in length videos. I'd like to start trying to keep my speed builds somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. I feel like that is a good amount of time, because I know even the Sims creators that I watch, if the video's more than like 10-15 minutes, I'm not as inclined to watch it, honestly, or I'll watch it on 2 times speed. And if you want to watch my videos on 2 times speed, knock yourself out. More power to you. You're welcome. Put it on mute. However you want to do it, that's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But like, if anybody has any suggestions or any input on how they feel about the length of the videos, let me know. So we're wrapping things up. Here's that coffee bar I talked about. You've got kind of an underwater theme going on up here. We've got just about a minute left, and we're going to go into screenshots. Also, going forward in my videos, I'm probably not going to include a preview for the next build like I used to do, because that was another thing that hindered my builds. I would wait until I had 2 or 3 builds done and edited before I would put a video up, because I wanted those previews in there, and I'm just not going to do that anymore. So I guess thanks for listening to me yap, or not, or whatever, and thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe, check out my Sims 4 gallery, pixie dusted, just like the YouTube channel. And here comes some screenshots. Enjoy, and hopefully I'll see you soon in the next one. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I got. So thanks for coming along on this weird journey with me. Bye, everybody.